联合国前秘书长潘基文先生做客可凡倾听，是什么激发了他的外交官之梦？
I was one of the 140 international students who met John F. Kennedy. It was almost impossible dream come true for me.
他为何如此看重教育？
We were very poor, we were hungry, but we were also very hungry and thirsty for our education. We really wanted to study hard and do for our country.
他对年轻一代又有何展望？
The political leaders and business leaders should empower young people. Otherwise, we'll not be able to cope with fast changing world.
深藏手拙，以柔克刚。本期可凡倾听为您带来联合国前秘书长潘基文先生的专访。上第2位来自亚洲的联合国秘书长，自2006年，他接替科菲安南，成为第8位联合国秘书长。在充满变化和不确定的当今世界，联合国秘书长这个职务，既要善于协调大国和小国、发达国家与发展中国家的关系，又要在错综复杂的利益和主张之中寻找交集点和妥协点。这份工作的困难和压力，非常人所能想象。
Even as I prepare to leave, my heart will stay, as it has since I was a child.
2016年年底，潘基文先生挥别了他在联合国秘书长的10年任期。然而，退休后的他始终关注于全球环境的问题和城市未来的发展。此前，在他参加世界环境日全球主场活动之际，我有幸邀请到了潘基文先生接受我们的采访。
Mr. Ban Ki-moon, it's my pleasure to have an opportunity to interview. I think you have been to Shanghai many times.
Yes.
So, what's your impression to our city?
Shanghai is one of the very big global cities, not one of the biggest one in China. So each time I'm here, I'm just impressed. And I'm sometimes surprised by the level of progress, by the speed of this progress. Particularly this development in Pudong is well appreciated and admired by international community, people around the world. So I'm very happy to be back again.
潘基文先生给我的第一印象是他儒雅谦恭的微笑和温和亲切的身体语言。他低调的行事作风和以柔克刚的外交手法，一次又一次地化解了国际政治上的危机。潘基文先生的谦逊，其实很大程度上源于他自幼学习的儒家文化和思想。
I've heard that you are very interested in Chinese culture, especially Confucianism. So, what do you think of the value or significance of the importance of Confucianism philosophy, and which part had most influence on you?
Now, since I was a child, from my childhood, I can tell you that I have been significantly influenced on the philosophy of Confucianism. I believe that most of the Chinese people and also Korea and some Asian people have been, taught by what Confucius said 2,500 years ago. This has led me, first of all, as a person to make my activities and my life, straight and with the sense of integrity. This is what I have been really been taught, and I'm proud that this Confucianism has led my life toward the right direction. One Confucius taught is that if you want to govern the world, you have to make your family life straight. Then that you should be president or prime minister or ministers. But there are many ways you can contribute as a leader to the development of your community, development of your family. But all this should start from you, from me. So if you really want to have a peace of your family, then you have your heart right. You should make your heart right. This is what I have been taught. Another lesson taught by Confucius is, I don't know how to pronounce in Chinese, but virtue will not make you lonely, and it will definitely have friends near you. How do you pronounce it? Do you understand what I'm trying to mean?
不孤必有邻.
So I can write.
Yeah. 我知道. You can write here.
This is lesson which I have been really keeping to practice. That means
calligraphy is very good.
If you, I have been really trying to practice myself in my life. So in any way, this Confucianism has been influencing a lot, significantly, in every aspect of our life and our society. And I'm very proud to have been influenced by this Confucianism. Yeah.
Your three nicknames back into the middle school, teacher band, flyer, and Buddha. How did you get those three nicknames?
I heard that story, but a part is true, a part is not true. I was never called like a Buddha, but I tried to practice what had been taught by Confucius, what had been taught by Buddha. Just do good things for other people. Be benevolent and be compassionate for other people who would otherwise would not be as happy as others. My friends, in the school call me sometimes a teacher because sometimes I helped my friends to learn, better when I was in the primary school and middle school. So-called nicknames were given to me sometimes because of what I did, sometimes because how I looked. Yeah.
可凡倾听下节预告，是什么激发了他的外交官之梦？
I was one of the 140 international students who met John F. Kennedy. It was almost the impossible dream come true for me.
Yeah.
I still remember, which was quite inspiring, what President Kennedy told us.
童年曾在战乱中度过，而他始终坚信知识可以改变命运。
Without any table, desk, we had to, on many occasions, study on the ground. We were very poor, we were hungry, but we were also very hungry and thirsty for our education. We really wanted to study hard and do for our country.
广告很短，马上。潘基文先生1944年出生于韩国中清北道的一个小镇。作为家中的长子，父母对他一直严加管教。即便在战乱时期，父母坚持送他去学校上课。1970年，潘基文先生从韩国首尔大学外交学专业毕业，同年进入韩国外交部，开启了他漫长的外交生涯。
I've heard you were born into an ordinary family. So what do you remember most about your parents? Were they very strict with you?
My parents at that time, not only my parents, but most of the parents were quite strict. It is not to just be strict, but they really wanted to have their children become citizens, properly contributing to our society. For that, education has always been top priority. And we thought that there's a good education, even though we were very poor, all around Korea. But we studied very hard. We studied very hard. That really led most of the Korean people toward the right direction, contributing constructively in a way to make our, first of all, family and our community, our country develop in a fair and a good way.
I've heard when you were very young, the school you attended had the poor facilities with open-air classroom. Was that true? Have you ever complained about that the circumstances?
When Korean War broke out in 1950, I was just 6 years old, and just 1 year after, I had to go to school. But most of the schools were destroyed. Then we didn't have classrooms. Then quite a long time until we had new buildings. We had to, on many occasions, study on the ground without any table, desk. And most of the texts were provided by the UNESCO, United Nations, and UN agencies helping Korea. We were very poor, we were hungry, but we were also very hungry and thirsty for our education. We really wanted to study hard and do for our country, country's reconstruction. And I'm proud, even though what I remember during what had happened to me at that time was very, very difficult. But looking back,
在18岁那年，他以优异的成绩通过了由美国红十字会主办的外国学生访美计划的选拔，与3名韩国学生代表接受了时任当时美国总统肯尼迪的接见。而这段特殊的经历竟对日后的潘基文先生有着深远的影响。他立志要成为一名外交官。
Talking about my meeting with the rural country from war-torn country, Korea. So nobody expected, but I was quite lucky enough. I was selected as one of the Korean students who were invited by the American Red Cross Society. So I was one of the 140 international students who met John F. Kennedy at the White House. I still remember, which was quite inspiring, what President Kennedy told us. He said that the international leaders, political leaders, were not getting along well because the world was completely divided into two camps, East and West. And then he told us that you are young people, I think you can do much better. You can get along well. There were many students coming from Eastern group, communist countries. And then what he said that lend the helping hand to others who would need our help. That was quite a striking and inspiring message for us. That has been living in my mind all the times. At that time, I first thought, what should I do then for my country? First it came to my country because Korea was still very poor. Then later, as I grew up in my public and diplomatic service, I was thinking about the world, some bigger and broader world, rather than limiting myself in Korea. So that's why I decided to run for the post of Secretary General of the United Nations. Of course, during that time, Chinese political support was crucially important. Without Chinese support, I would never have been able to be elected. Then I am still very proud that, inspired by what John F. Kennedy told us, then I tried to practice and do what was right for the world.
如果说教育改变了潘基文先生的命运，那潘基文先生也用自己的事例告诉全世界，教育还可以改变一个国家未来的命运。自他上任联合国秘书长以来，他言传身教，不仅推广了一系列的倡议行动，他更是走入年轻人的群体之中，告诉他们教育对于一个人和一个国家的重要意义。
So, how important do you think education is to a nation or its people?
I think education is important for any people, for any country around the world. That is what United Nations has presented what is known as Millennium Development Goals. And there, education was a second priority. Only after you have something to feed the people, only after you overcome this poverty, then human beings should be taught. Now, with Sustainable Development Goals, which were adopted in 2015 again, until 2030, now education is another top priority. These goals have been expanded to 17 from 8 to 17, so it is more than double. Without education, you cannot expect your citizens to contribute constructively to the development of the community and country. So during my time as a Secretary General, in 2010, I launched a Global Education First Initiative, abbreviated GEFI, G-E-F-I. And I appointed the former UK Prime Minister Gordon Brown as Chinese universities who have joined this one. More than 1,500 universities around the world are members of this and try to provide higher, good quality education to many people. This is what I paid one of the highest priorities on education. That's what I learned from my own experience. Yeah.
So what message would you like to send to the young generation?
This world should be very young, very young. But their status in the national or local level or international level has not been given much. So we should fully empower, as we are trying to empower women much more than now. Often people say that you are the leaders of tomorrow, but there are many young people who are taking leadership role today already. It is very important at the school, at the business communities, or even at the national level. The political leaders and business leaders should empower young people. Otherwise, we'll not be able to cope with fast changing world, with a transformative, revolutionary development of technology like artificial intelligence and big data. Then I think we can expect that it is a young people who will take the fullest opportunity of this. They are much more capable. They are much easily adapting to this fast-changing era of technology.
在潘基文先生任职联合国秘书长的2个任期里，他在应对气候变化、推动可持续发展和推进性别平等方面取得满意成绩。尤其在任期内，达成了具有里程碑意义的巴黎协定。该协定为2020年后全球应对气候变化行动做出了全面安排，标志着世界正朝着一个更加安全、更加可持续和繁荣的未来前进。成绩与荣誉的背后是辛勤的努力，也是家人的支持与陪伴。
When you went to the United States to meet the U.S. President John Kennedy, before you leave South Korea, a girl sent you off and gave you a gift. That girl later became your wife. Being a diplomat means you have to devote your life to the country, to the world, maybe into this profession.
Of course, I feel very much sorry, and I have always guilty sense to my wife, as one of the public servants. I had the firm principle that the public comes first before a private life. So that has always led me toward that direction. Life as a Korean diplomatic foreign service officer, and particularly more as Secretary General of the United Nations, has not given much time for my own. But I'm very much grateful to my wife, to my children, who have been always understanding my current, that kind of situation. I have been spending most of my time meeting world leaders and also meeting with people who need immediate support, people who otherwise would be treated differently because of what they are, because of what they look, because of what they believe in. That's what I have been really trying to help those people who are in need of support. That's what really a basic principle of the United Nations Charter provides.
联合国第一任秘书长赖伊曾说，联合国秘书长是地球上最难干的岗位。想要在联合国大会通过一个提案，需要赢得联合国193个国家中的多数选票；想要在联合国安理会通过一个决议，需要安理会中5个常任理事国无一行使否决权。即便困难重重，在潘基文先生任期的10年内，他凭借自己的虚心和谦逊，以及出色的口才和非同寻常的记忆力，最终使联合国达成了一些重要的协议。在潘基文先生看来，只要真诚对话，解决一切问题皆有可能。
During your 10-year service as a Secretary General of the United Nations, what are you most proud of that?
That's quite difficult to pinpoint, pick out one or two.
Yeah.
But at the end of my term, while I have been really trying to do my best efforts to make this world better for all, it comes to me at least three on which I have devoted most of my time for a change or for a better way. One is to have a Paris Climate Change Agreement, which was adopted on December 12, 2015. Then for that particular issue, I am deeply grateful to Chinese government, particularly Barack Obama of the United States and President Xi Jinping of China. Without these two leaders, and this climate change would not have been possible.
Yes.
Of course, I, as a Secretary General of the United Nations, tried to mobilize all my political and moral influence to bring all the leaders of the world together, including business leaders. But I think particularly these two leaders championing leadership were, I think, guiding light, crucially important. Another one is during my time, on September 25th, 2015 again, the world leaders adopted Sustainable Development Goals with 17 goals. This is by far the most ambitious, most far-reaching visions the United Nations has ever presented to the world during the last 70 years at that time. So in 7 decades, the UN has been doing a lot to improve the lives of people, to prevent conflicts from happening and to promote human rights, but not much. But those are by far the most important visions the United Nations has been able to present to the world. I was part of this process and I feel very happy and proud. Another third one, all these are part of these two visions, but I did my best efforts to further the rights of women and youth, and particularly for women. My argument was that this world is half men and women, even more women in this world. And therefore, women should be given at least equal rights, if not more. And those are three issues in which I'm proud of.
可凡今天下节预告，多次访华，他如何评价今天的中国
Without Chinese efforts, the world would not have been, United Nations would not have been able to pronounce and declare that we have cut in half the number of people living in abject poverty. It was just because of China's effort to have lifted more than 400 million people.
对于中美关系，潘基文先生又有何看法
Have you ever noticed a very interesting dialogue between the anchorwoman from Fox TV and the Chinese anchorwoman from CCTV?
I see.
So how do you comment on that interesting dialogue?
Yes, good.
广告很短，马上回来。联合国是这个世界上最大的多边权力机构。对潘基文先生而言，在联合国工作的每一天都仿佛如履薄冰。2016年12月31日，潘基文先生终于正式挥别了联合国秘书长的10年任期。他在联合国大会上发表告别致辞时表示，担任联合国秘书长是其一生中最大的荣幸。虽然即将离开，但心始终和联合国紧密相连。如今，作为现任博鳌亚洲论坛理事长的潘基文先生，依然热衷于参加亚洲的各个峰会和论坛，时刻关注着这个世界的变化与发展。
Are you getting more time to relax after retirement, and how are you spending your time now?
That's a good question. I have been extremely busy. Not as busy as I was Secretary General, but almost the same level. Now I'm holding the number of titles, positions, starting from chairman of the Boao Forum.
Yes.
This also makes me quite busy. And there are many issues. I'm chairman of the Ethics Commission of the International Olympic Committee. In my capacity of that, I'll be looking forward to participating in Beijing Winter Olympic Games in 2022. Now, there are many other issues. I'm one of the elders, some very small group of world leaders, former world leaders who are now working for peace and stability and sustainable development, etc. And air quality. I know that China and South Korea and many countries in Northeast Asia, and in fact many countries around the world are suffering from this worsening air quality, what we call it PM 2.5 or fine dust. So I'm now going to participate the day after tomorrow in a World Environment Day to be hosted by Chinese government in close cooperation with the United Nations. I'm going to meet Minister Li Ganzhi of Environment and Ecology of China. So these are something which I'm doing.
So You are so busy.
Quite busy, quite busy.
Now, how do you comment on the role China play in the international affair, and what do you think of the idea, community of shared destiny proposed by President Xi Jinping?
Now, I was really inspired when President Xi Jinping came to the United Nations in September 2015 and announced this, a community of shared future or a community of common destiny, whatever it may be called. That was quite inspiring. The pronouncement of Chinese commitment to work together with the rest of the people for a better world, for common prosperity of the world. And under that, China has been making a great contribution. First of all, without Chinese efforts, the world would not have been, United Nations would not have been able to pronounce and declare that we have cut in half the number of people living in abject poverty. It was just because of China's effort to have lifted more than 400 million people. Now, China has a very ambitious plan. The President Xi Jinping, when I met him last year, just announced that China will make sure that by the end of next year, there will be no people, no Chinese, who will be living on the poverty line, under the poverty line. This is quite important one. As you may know, there are still almost 700 million people. They have to live whole day long with that $1.90. This is what we call abject poverty level. We have to eradicate this one by 2030. We have only 11 years.
How do you define it?
Everybody thinks that China's economy is state-owned, everything is state-controlled, everything is state. But let me tell you, it is not the true picture. 80% of Chinese employees were employed by private enterprises. 80% of Chinese exports were done by private companies. About 65% of technological innovation were carried out by private enterprises. Some of the largest companies that affect our life, for instance, 5G technology companies, they are private companies. We are actually quite mixed and very dynamic and actually very, very open as well.
How do you comment on that interesting dialogue?
It's good to have or continue to this kind of dialogue, even though
this is the first time for the Chinese and American uncle or woman have a direct contact.
That's a good way
Yeah.
to bridge the gaps of understandings.
Yes.
The Fox TV is known as a quite conservative group, but CCTV is a national TV of China. So there may be some areas of difference of views, but difference of views always can be bridged when you continue to have a dialogue.
My last question, do you think it's necessary for a civilization to have a dialogue and have mutual respect?
Of course. I am deeply concerned by what is happening in this world. This world, 7.5 billion people are living with all different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different background of culture, history, and civilization, religions, and whatever it may be. Therefore, there should be a full respect for what others are practicing in their religion or belief or in their ethnicities. That is why the United Nations has launched the Alliance of Civilization during my time. We launched this very important initiative, Alliance of Civilization. I'm afraid to tell you that this campaign has not been moving well. not enough, not as enough as to address all these issues. Then I have been trying to use the power of education, as I explained, providing quality education to all the people around the world. That will help to foster the young people, particularly when they take charge of this world, to understand better and more and appreciate more the different civilizations. A scholar called Samuel Huntington, who wrote about the conflict of civilizations. But I think we can make all this situation much more a different way, more harmonious way, if we are united to work together. As soon as I retired from the United Nations, I thought that what should I do and how I can contribute to this changing situation. That's why I established the Pan-Ki-moon Center for Global Citizens in Vienna. And recently in Seoul, I established a Pan-Ki-moon Foundation for a better world, a better future, a better future. These two foundations or center are aiming the same goals, same goals. If we work together, there is nothing which we cannot overcome. If we work together, we can really make this world better and provide a better future for all the people, respecting each other's civilization and culture, political system, and their ethnic background, or even, protecting human rights and human dignity. There are many ways people discriminate the other people because of what they are coming from, because of their belief, because of their physical conditions, like people living with physical disabilities, people with all the different religions. Therefore, there are many ways still we have to work to make this world better for all. And as a former Secretary General, I'm very much committed to work this world better for all.
Very good. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
Pan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
谢谢。
谢谢。
近期，新型冠状病毒感染肺炎疫情牵动着中国亿万人民的心。潘基文先生也十分关注中国疫情情况，他特别录制了声援中国抗击疫情的视频。潘基文先生坚信，中国必将打赢这场疫情防控阻击战。
大家好。As we mark the beginning of a new year, my heart goes out to friends in China who are suffering under the shadow of the novel coronavirus. The world is weary with the fear of the virus lurking in the darkness. However, I can say without any doubt that I see hope in this dire situation. This is because the Chinese people are united in one and fearlessly fighting against the virus. As a friend of China, I'd like to extend my deepest respect to the 1.4 billion Chinese people who are fighting against the epidemic, and sincere condolences to those who lost their lives because of the virus. President Xi Jinping has more than once emphasized the priceless value of life. I firmly believe that the Chinese value of life and their wisdom accumulated for the past 5,000 years will enable China to overcome this epidemic. I also believe that the powerful measures taken by the Chinese government under the leadership of President Xi, the national spirit of unity, and the selfless dedication of all medical staff will surely allow China to win the battle against the novel coronavirus. The World Health Organization, WHO, and the global community. During my term as the Secretary General of the United Nations, I have urged the promotion of the Sustainable Development Goals and called for the protection of human health. Likewise, I will stand together with the Chinese people in their battle against the epidemic. On January 30th, I had spoken with the Director General of the World Health Organization and reaffirmed my will to go all on overcoming the epidemic. Dear my friends in China, 大家好, I believe in the power of pulling together in times of trouble. Working together, we can write a new chapter in history of how we fearlessly have battled to defend humanity and won. Let us not lose hope as the glory of victory is near. 谢谢。
我们医务工作者都会以饱满的热情做好自己的工作，
尽我们最大的努力来救治这边的病人，
把这个医疗工作做好，确保这个病人的安全。
在不远的将来，我们一定会战胜疫情。武汉不再是一座孤城，我们金银潭也不是一个孤潭。武汉加油！
中国加油！
加油！
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 我们有信心，有能力，一定能打赢疫情防控阻击战。